let's talk about writing. Why like a writing feels so freaking hard, and how to finally make it work. So let me hit you with a question. Why is talking with your friend easy, but writing that same thought down feels like, your brain's being chased by a pack of angry ducks? Like, seriously, how come you can explain something perfectly out loud, but the second you try to put it into a sentence, it's like the economy is impacted by feelings, sort of, and boom, just like that, your confidence dies. So today's we're unpacking that mystery, not in a boring school style. I'm talking real stories, real hacks, real brain science, but fun, like how I wish someone had taught me when I was 15 years old. So buckle up, part one, talking and versus writing. What's the big deal? Alright, imagine this. You're hyped about a new video game and you're explaining it to a friend. You wave your arms around, your voice gets loud, you're hyped, right? Now imagine trying to write that same excitement in a Google Doc without any emojis, like, without voice, without dude, in all caps. Kind of sucks, doesn't it? Okay, here's why. Speech equal to the, messy, fast, emotional, and writing, it's more like a, slow, clean, polished. So when we talk, we rely on a ton of invisible stuff, like tone of voice, facial expressions, gestures, inside jokes, TikTok references, you name it. But writing gives you exactly one tool: words. That's it. No eye contact, no head tilt, no dramatic pauses, just squiggles on a screen. And that's why your writing feels stiff. You're trying to stuff your full, living, dancing thought into a sentence-shaped cage, like trying to capture lighting into a pickle jar. So now let's talk about why writing feels like mental gymnastics. It literally is. So here where the science kicks in. Writing is hard not because you suck at it, but because it asks your brain to do like 5 complicated things at the same time. First of all, figure out what you're really trying to say. Second, organize that mess into something clear. In other words, before writing down, your brain kind of filtering your thoughts. It's also about focus. Third, pick the right words to match your meaning. Then imagine how someone else going to read. And fifth one, type it all out without getting distracted by cat videos, which is also, not easy. Now get this. Your working memory, that's your brain's whiteboard, can only hold 4 to 7 things at a time. So I guess you get the point that it was about focusing, that we gotta approach writing as a method to clear our mind. Now let's talk about another part, which is about talking comes first, writing comes later, and that's okay. Fun fact, humans were talking for tens of thousands of years before we even invented writing. We were telling stories around fires while still trying to figure out how to cook meat without burning it. So talking is our brain's natural mode. That's how babies learn. That's how families make decisions. That's how we vibe. Writing came later. It's artificial, not bad, just unnatural. That's why when you're making a big decision, like which high school or college to choose, you might write down your options. But when it's time to decide, you will sit around at the table and talk it out. It's primal. Even professional intelligence analysts at the CIAs, yes, real, write long reports, but make decisions orally. They literally said the essence of decision making is oral. Kind of cool, right? So now let's talk about news versus knowledge and why your brain cares. Let's go deep for a second, but not boring deep. This part is actual fire. A writer named Walker Percy gave us this sick metaphor. He said that when we read stuff, it usually falls into two types. Type 1, news, like there's a water in the next cove, a volcano is erupting, your friend is cheating on you, that kind of titles, let's say. This stuff is urgent, emotional, you want to act on it. And another type based on knowledge. What about this kind of titles? Water boils at like 100 Celsius degree, or like E equal MC square 2. Next one being comprises essence and existence. Yawn or deep, you decide. So this is calm, timeless info. You think about it, not act on it. Percy said, the real challenge is that most people want news, but writers often deliver knowledge. That's the disconnect, and you felt it before. Ever read something and went, okay, cool, but why should I care? And that's because you were looking for news and they gave your knowledge. Boom. So now let's talk about real life example, school essays and let's say like a versus real talk. Imagine this. You read an article about climate change. It's full of stats, graphs, quotes, like scientific terms. You're drowning in data. You're drowning in data, but your brain is screaming, okay, but what should I do? Do I stop eating meat, bike to school, buy paper straws? And that's because the article gave you knowledge. But you're craving news, actionable stuff. Something that, hits your current life. So now, think of writing like this. Every time you write, you gotta figure out, am I delivering news or knowledge, or maybe both? And that simple awareness changes the game. In other words, consciously approach what you have to write. So now let's discuss this 3 secret writing strategies of prose. So let's say you do want to be a better writer. You don't want to sound like a Wikipedia page. What do? Researchers figured out that skilled writers use 3 strategies. So first of all, plan to do. This is a mission, the vibe, let's say I want to roast this dumb rumor. I need to convince my teacher I did read this book. I want to make my friend laugh while explaining quantum physics. It's about why you're writing. What's the end goal. Then plan to say. This is your main points, the beats you want to hit, bullet points, maybe an outline. For example, point 1, AI is scary. Point 2, but it's useful. And point 3, we gotta use it smart, not dumb. And this is what most teachers only focus on, but it's just part of the game. Then we get a plan to compose. This is the magic sauce, the how. It's the tone, the flow, the tricks. Should I start with a joke? Should I use a story? Should I drop a quote or meme? Real prose bounce between all three while writing, like playing a video game on 3 screens. So now let's discuss about so how do you make your writing better? And here's the fun part. Some actual practical hacks you can use today to sound like a storytelling ninja. Write it like you had said it. Seriously, like record yourself talking out the idea, and then write it down. That's your first draft. Short sentences, lots of verbs, simple words. Think like air quotes, grab, slam, build, not utilize, facilitate, or endeavor. In other words, use simple, understandable, not fancy words. And then use examples from real life. Do not say society is fragmented. Say we sit at dinner with our families while texting 5 other people. Then visualize your reader. Are you writing to a teacher, your crush, or Reddit troll? Imagine their face. It changes how you write because, when you want to send the text to your friend or to your teacher, it makes sense that you're choosing different styles because, with your friend, you can fuck around, you can use like a slang words and like be funny or whatever, that kind of chill vibe. But with your teacher, of course, you gotta talk in a formal way, use some academic terms, and that makes sense. In other words, based on the receiver of your message, you gotta consider its a specific style. So let's wrap up. You're not bad at writing. Writing is just wildly complex. And look, if there's one thing I want you to take from this podcast, is this. Writing isn't just about being smart, it's about being clear, being real, being useful. Even the best writer in the world rewrite their sentences a million times. They doubt themselves. They Google synonyms at 3 a.m. They delete stuff, cry a little, and then start again. So when you sit down to write and your brain feels like scrambled eggs, that's normal. Just breathe, break it down, speak it out, then write like you're talking to a real human. That's the art, that's the secret. Or let's put it simply, you gotta talk in the language of that exact person. And in other words, it's like a language inside of language. And if you know that your friend's language, and you can use the same terms, words, slang words, your friend, or doesn't matter, your teacher accept you because he or she see the message which is written and fits with his or her vocabulary. So thank you for listening, and if you loved it, share it with your friend, maybe teacher. Anyway, thanks, and catch you next time. And of course, if you liked it, subscribe, thumbs up, that kind of stuff.